Okay. Okay, when you're ready.
Hi, I'm Tom Klein from Sabre Holdings.
Thank you very much for taking some time out. Here we are at the World Travel and Tourism Conference 2012. We're in Tokyo. The World Travel and Tourism Organization generally, how significant do you think it is in the travel industry for getting our message across?
Well, I think it's incredibly important. As an industry, we're 9% of global GDP. We create jobs, and I'll use a U.S. statistic. In the U.S., for every tourist that we have come to the country, for every 9 tourists that come to the country, it creates a job. And in a world right now where we're still in recovery in most regions, I think heads of state and governments are trying to figure out what they can do to stimulate tourism into the region. So the mission, and that's very consistent with the mission of WTTC. So it's an incredibly important time for us to get our message out.
We were just in the debates you were in a moment ago, understanding tomorrow's consumers. What would you say were some of the key outcomes from that event?
Well, I think that as companies look at how to touch consumers, consumers are coming to them in a lot of different ways now. We spent a lot of time this morning talking about mobility, and just a year ago, very few bookings were going through. So people were getting information on their device or holding their itinerary on their device. They weren't booking there. And just in the short year, we've seen a whole lot of booking behavior change, and we're seeing lots of hotel bookings online on a mobile device. And the most interesting part of it is the consumption of those hotel bookings is more than 60% of the time. It's the same day as the booking. So it's almost a whole different consumers with a whole different set of needs, and you can tell that they have that where they're coming from, and maybe respond to them differently. And it's a unique time, and it's just I don't think we would have anticipated that type of behavior even a year ago.
Certainly, last year everyone was mentioning mobile as very much the one path forward. But
Right.
now we're seeing tablet computers and a sort of expansion across platforms. So people are looking at PCs, TVs, tablets, and mobile.
Right.
Are all 4 of these going to be equally valid as we move forward?
I think absolutely all 4 are equally valid. And you start with the good news. The good news is you're going to know more about your consumer, and potentially, depending on what device they're using that day or how they're coming to you, their needs might be slightly different. Like I said, a same-day consumption versus a long trip that's planned, months in advance may come in different forms. Your customer might come from you in different places. Let's talk about the hard part. For companies, the underlying systems that they have to be able to interact with now 4 different platforms, and so making those underlying services more easy to consume is something that technology companies like Sabre spend a lot of time on. We're for our hospitality and our airline customers, we're creating unified service platforms that can deliver the same service to whatever device is required, and then as far as what it looks like and how the look and feel changes is up to the corporation. But those core services are a real challenge in a four device world.
You obviously have a great depth of expertise in this area. When you go to your partners in the industry, hotels, airlines, how aware are they that these things are changing almost monthly?
Well, I think they're getting aware, right? And we have to make sure we're having a rich dialogue, and obviously, like every technology, some customers move quicker than others. But the basic notion that how you interact with your customer should have a certain level of consistency across, regardless of how they want to interact with you and what device they're using, that makes sense to most customers, makes sense to most CEOs. And the challenge is, as you learn more about those customers and you have perhaps more defined slices and customer segments, is how do you refine your product offering to respond to them? And I think that's a tougher challenge. But I think the notion that you have to play in mobile, you have to play on tablet, you have to play on television, you have to play on a PC screen, all of those things are I think they resonate in most boardrooms now.
Well, just a final question. Next year we'll be in Abu Dhabi for the 2013 event. What's the one buzzword we're going to be talking about there next year?
Buzzword in Abu Dhabi. I think there'll be a big discussion about what big data really means. It's a little bit of a technology buzzword right now. Everybody's talking about it, but the notion that companies like ours sit on 5 petabytes of data, and most of it belongs to our customers, and the challenge of how we can allow them to use it more easily, make it more accessible, put some business intelligence underneath. And I think that is all going to start to become real. And I think by next year we're going to start to see some real applications of big data, and people actually really understand what it means.
We'll have to see if we can keep up. Thank you very much for talking to us today.
All right, thank you so much.